Good evening. Well, this is big news, although it's not official news yet and may not be for another 24 hours or so. So we've had the rather bizarre experience at Parliament here today of people confirming it behind the scenes but not saying a lot publicly. But look, it is a big deal. John Key argues perhaps a bigger deal than Mike Moore being appointed to the head of the World Trade Organisation back in 1999. Certainly Helen Clark will be heading the world's biggest development programme with huge reach and a massive budget. She's not allowed to confirm it yet, but Helen Clark just scored one of the world's top jobs.
Nothing is official until the Secretary-General has made an announcement. He has yet to do that.
But unofficially, the former Prime Minister will take the third highest position at the United Nations, running its major development programme.
It is a very useful instrument for development. For example, it could be in the reconstruction of Afghanistan or in Iraq.
The programme was established in 1965 and its aims include reducing poverty, stopping the spread of HIV/AIDS, cleaning up the environment and improving the quality of world government.
A problem in many places is appalling politicians, bad guys who take money. That's your problem, and I've dealt with a lot of these villains, and I think Helen will deal to some of them.
And in some ways, Helen Clark spent a lifetime preparing for this job. After entering Parliament,
I, Helen Elizabeth Clark, solemnly, sincerely...
One of her first tasks was chairing the Select Committee which pushed through the anti-nuclear legislation. After becoming Prime Minister, she met all the world leaders at all the top international meetings, developing a strong reputation for her knowledge, her contacts and her expertise on foreign affairs.
It's one of the most senior diplomatic postings that someone can get, and from New Zealand's point of view, it would be a tremendous honour for her and for New Zealand.
Helen Clark will take up the position later this year, sparking a by-election in the Mount Albert seat she's held since 1981.
Clearly, the Labour Party would not stand in the way of Helen Clark moving on to the third highest position in the United Nations.
So what swung it for Helen Clark?
She has a high profile and I think is robust and had some good people ringing.
Leaving Parliament to go to the UN certainly doesn't mean leaving the politics and leaving the lobbying behind.
All right, that by-election in Mount Albert, Guy, no doubt the lobbying's already started within Labour for what is, let's face it, a safe seat.
Well, that's right. There's certainly a strategic calculation being made here. Now, the front runner to get this Mount Albert seat was Phil Twyford, who's currently a list MP here at Parliament. But they are encouraging him not to put his name forward, and I'll tell you why. If Phil Twyford moves from the list to being a Mount Albert MP, the next person comes in off the Labour list. Now, that's Damien O'Connor. That's fine. Labour want him back. But Michael Cullen is expected to stand down soon too. Now, to replace him off the Labour list, you'd get Judith Tizard. Now, they don't want her back. They see her as old guard. They don't want her back here in Parliament. So to avoid that, they're going to get someone outside Parliament to contest this Mount Albert seat. Now, there are a number of names being thrown forward, but it looks like someone outside Parliament will actually replace Helen Clark in that Mount Albert seat for Labour.
Thank you, Guy and Espner at Parliament.